pleasure to be here addressing this gathering, which would be better off probably on a weekend lining up at the nearest restaurant or the bar today, but it's all here, so it gives us all the more pleasure. And I also thank Mr. Sahu, the publisher of Air India, to really have done a lot of homework in, I'm sure I'm not the only one to have been driven out of our silos or cocoons in which we work and come and tell others as to what we have done or what we are doing. So I really thank him and his efforts, his initiative in shaking us off. And I'm sure I'm not alone. A lot of you would have had the same fate. So we are all here and we'll be sharing as to what each one of us are doing, and in the bargain probably striking the right connection between each other. So I think that is the whole aim of this exercise and what we are here for today evening. CDAC, as you all know, Center for Development of Advanced Computing, is a R&D organization, a scientific society under the Government of India, Department of Electronics and Information Technology. And our agenda is basically to carry out application-oriented, mission-oriented research in forward areas of computers and electronics technologies. And we are headquartered at Pune. We have 11 centers all across the country. And we are better known because we were formed in 1988 for our supercomputer technology and Param. But now we have a lot of other thematic areas in which we work. And these are the thematic areas. And each center has its own strength. Since I am in Calcutta, I will be telling you about what Calcutta is doing. Unfortunately, I will have to ask permission of Sahuji if I can defocus a little and tell you something more of Calcutta's technology other than the topic here, that is the cyber security. Yeah. So then I will be telling you about some other things. Now, I would like to tell you here that today we are in a very, very I would say a vibrant state in the country where the government has defined for us very, very well established canvases, in the sense that the parameters are known and these canvases are known to everybody, smart cities, digital India. Smart cities have been defined, digital India, the 9 pillars, there is an e-governance program, there are mission mode projects, there is Make in India program. Everything has been quite well defined. There are standards, maybe there may not be too many standards restricting you, but then there are a lot of do's and don'ts, and there are a lot of things which are, the boundaries have been drawn, and still there is a lot of space for everybody to paint their colors and create on those canvases. The canvases are wide open in front of you. And that is what probably is the expectation of the government from the industry, the SMEs, startups, to come up and use their creative talent, the scientific talent which is there in India, and to give the country what it really wants. Instead of buying something which is not customized to the requirements of our country. And that is where we all come in. We have also been given the same mandate that look, you have the mission mode projects, you have been funded for a particular area of research. Now try and make products which fit into those mission mode projects. I'll give you an example. Like we have come up with a lot of products in language technologies, the machine-aided translation, text-to-speech systems. We have come up with speech recognition systems in various Indian languages. Now we've been told, okay, now you have 2 MMPs, the agriculture MMP and the e-district MMP. Now customize your products in a period of 18 months to fit into those MMPs and go ahead. So this is the kind of the progress which is going on, and I'm sure you understand what I'm speaking about. And in that kind of a quest, we have come up with a lot of products, a lot of technologies, and we expect that a lot of startups, SMEs will come and take forward these things, because as an organization, any research and development organization cannot do a lot of things alone. You have marketing, you have networking, you have so many other things to do. So an organization which can focus itself in developing a particular product and marketing and proliferating a particular product only throughout its life cycle can probably do much more than what CDAC or any other organization alone can do. Because we do research in a project-oriented mode. When the funding is there, we produce a technology. Some of it we transfer to the market by transfer of technology mechanism. We do patenting, we do transfer of technology for licensing to manufacture. And then we move on to some other products or technologies. But now we are looking at the critical mass out here to come up and take things forward. And I would say out here that the industry response to our products has been very, very cautious, very, very measured, and very, very risk averse. People want to know what would be my profitability, you know, as if we can actually measure the profitability and tell them, okay, you are guaranteed this much of profitability. Or if the product has been, let's say, field tested, then what is the error percentage or what is the error probability? So many other parameters are asked, you know, which are very impossible for us to tell the people. So I would urge the community, the industrial community here to be more forthcoming and probably take things forward. So with that prelude, I would like to introduce you to some products. One is, these are all security related products. This is the latest addition, and it's I would say a poor man's CCTV camera system. It is based on a very, very commonly available electronic board. We christened it the third eye. And as of now, it has been designed to take snapshots of only human faces which come in front of it at pre-designated intervals and transmit them to a remote location. It could be on Wi-Fi, it could be on a LAN, and we are also now moving forward to enable it to transmit on a GSM or a CDMA chip available on that. So the advantage of this device is, firstly, it's very small, the power requirement is very less, and it can, even if it is damaged, it has already captured the person who is trying to damage it and transmitted it to the remote location. The earlier application we thought about were, if you, let's say for flat owner, it could be installed under the eye hole of the door. It is just this small, and it would take photographs of each and every person who would come in front of the eye hole and spend a few seconds. So if someone was going away for a long time, the photographs of all the faces who have come in front of your door could be transmitted in to a remote location, maybe a mobile phone or a hidden hard disk, or hard disk with a Wi-Fi hotspot facility or something like that, and could be available to you when you come back. And in case there is a mishap, you could have easily been able to identify probable suspects, because the photograph is transmitted with a date time stamp, and it takes very, very little space. So that is the biggest advantage. In the CCTV camera system, you have huge amount of data which you have to keep erasing after every week or so. You don't have that much of disk space. But in this device, you have disk space where you can keep years and years of data and not erasing it. But a lot of people came forward and now give us ideas, and we are trying to now develop this device to suit the needs of other people who want to monitor their houses in their absence. You know, mothers who leave their young babies with caregivers at home, to know at the trigger, let's say they give an SMS to a phone number, and on the SMS the camera could record a very small video clip and transmit it back to the mother and say what's happening inside my house. So these kind of applications. The applications could be multifarious depending on the ideas, and we are here to customize it to the requirement. So that is one product. So these are the kind of photographs it can give you, and given the versatility, it could also give you videos, which you could transmit on a very, very low bandwidth link using some video compression technologies. Then we have smart card based employee ID management systems. These smart card, this Costa operating system is our own patented operating system, and we in CDAC have developed an entire ecosystem for developing these smart cards. That means right from the loading the keys onto these smart cards, from the issuing of these smart cards, to the validating of these smart cards by a validator card, which is checking the validity whether the smart card belongs to the organization or not, to the security key which is being loaded, to the reader. We have also developed a smart card reader, and the entire software which can manage it. The entire ecosystem has been developed. The applications like not only employee ID management, that means your attendance system. You can use it for library book issues, you can use it for your canteen, small payments when you go to the canteen for food. Access control, based on your role you can be given access to a particular area. And the advantage of these smart cards is that it also has your face and your fingerprint data. And this fingerprint is one time authenticated from the Aadhaar database. So next time when you come and give your card, swipe your card in front of the machine, it's a contactless card. It will ask you for your fingerprint, and the fingerprint will be validated with the card itself, and every time not going back to the Aadhaar database, since it has already been validated once by the Aadhaar database. So the advantage is that you cannot use this card for proxying and give it to somebody and say mark my attendance, or it cannot be misused. We have also developed an application which we are installing in the headquarters Eastern Command here in Fort William, where you can log in to a server using these smart cards. That means that it's totally, your activity on the server is totally logged. Only you or two people, in case of a very secure server, can log onto the server. So it is an overlay which is on top of the operating system, where you can use this card with the fingerprint authentication, and then only the server will boot up. So a secure smart login is also possible with this kind of a smart card. Then a face recognition system software we developed, which can help you recognize a face of a person in case it is there in a database. And the advantage is that it is a homegrown system which can have a lot of tolerance, unlike other face recognition systems which require photographs to be taken in a very, very controlled environment. This can tolerate pose variation, light intensity variation. The pose variation which can tolerate is around plus minus 20 degrees in both the axes, that's the azimuth and elevation. And age variation in a human face, light intensity variation, then it can act upon photographs taken from various sources, unlike just the cameras. So this we are now trying to introduce in various areas like the child tracking, missing child tracking system, and so many other applications of the Government of India. Then I will now be digressing because I have had the permission of Mr. Sahu and telling you that we are having a very, very ambitious exercise by the Government of India to ensure that the farmers get the right amount for their produce. So a system called the National Agri Marketing System is being developed, where agriculture commodities can be traded on the trading network like stocks and shares or any other commodities. So for that, you could be having a farmer coming here and having some dal to be sold, and any user sitting in Chennai can actually buy that dal, and transport facility can be provided so that that dal can be shipped to Chennai. So that way there can be a whole lot of regulation which can happen in the prices of commodities, etc. all across the country. So what is required is a faithful reproduction of the quality parameters of the produce or the agricultural commodity. And we have developed a system which is based on a very, very simple technology. It's just a snapshot, and with the help of image processing, come out with the visual parameters of the produce. And these visual parameters are given by the FSSAI or AGMARK standards. And these are very, very simple produce, like the standards like average width of the grain, average length of the grain, average, in case it's a round thing, you can have average diameter, percentage of broken grain, chalkiness, what is the percentage of spoiled grain, texture. In case of certain areas where the color is important, you can have the color palette matching, etc., etc. So these kind of parameters, once you take out a sample, right now it is done manually, and it is all depending. The price is depending on the person who is actually testing that sample, and a whole lot of manual subjectivity is involved in determining the price which is given to the farmers. You find that the farmers get a very, very low price for even a very good produce, depending on the person who is actually taking it, and a whole lot of interest involved in the whole process. So it can simplify the whole process, and this is out. We have already given an expression of interest for the transfer of this technology to interested takers. We are expecting a whole lot of interest in these technologies. This is the Annadarpan system. I have given you some depiction of some rice sample which is given here. It can give you the color, the parameters on a scale like this. This is an overhead scanner based system. You also have a conveyor based system. Then we have a whole lot of other systems like the electronic nose for obnoxious odor detection, electronic nose for quality estimation of tea, rice, which we have already transferred to the industry. And recently we found that this electronic nose can also be used in the smart city project, where we are having a smart garbage disposal system in order to firstly monitor the environment anywhere in the city, and also especially position them wherever the landfill areas or the garbage dumps are located, so that in case the odor is beyond the threshold value, it can give some alarm. Then Resham Darshan and Pebrinoscope are two technologies we have already transferred for the sericulture industry. This is for the Tussar sericulture farmers which are there in neighboring areas of Jharkhand, Bihar, Odisha, all these areas. They are using these technologies. We found that this electronic nose is a very, very versatile system and can not only be used for obnoxious odors or giving the quality parameters of tea or rice, but in Tamil Nadu, where a lot of jasmine flower extract is exported to the perfume industry abroad, it has found its use over there in order to characterize the quality of that jasmine flower extract, and also to determine the optimum plucking time for the jasmine flowers. Because jasmine flowers have a characteristic that at a particular time of the day, their fragrance is the maximum at that time. If you pluck the flowers, the extract, they say, is the purest and the best at that time. So even this instrument is used over that time. So these are a lot of these systems which I have talked about, and a whole lot of other systems which are available with us in Calcutta, and a lot of other centers who are doing research in various areas. We've done a lot of work in the social domain, where technologies for specially abled children have been developed, technologies for, we've done some capacity building for artisans, weavers, etc. Right. So we are working in a whole lot of areas like this, and we would look forward to any inquiries, any kind of collaborations with SMEs. It will be a pleasure to move ahead with them, and we would like responses to our expressions of interest, so that technologies can actually find the right place in the market wherever they belong. So with that, I think we'll wrap up. Thank you very much for the patient listening. Thank you very much.